All right, well, good afternoon, welcome, and thank you all for joining us today at the November statewide webinar. I am Michael Good, the Director of School Support at the New York Charter Schools Association, and I'm excited to be joined today by Anna Hall, CEO of the Northeast Charter Schools Network, Lisa Long, the Executive Director of the Charter School Office at New York SED, Catherine Connell Espinoza, Interim Executive Director of the SUNY Charter Schools Institute, Aaron Cochran, Interim Acting Senior Executive Director for Policy and Operations at the New York City DOE, and Lori Hazeley, Senior Director of Charter Authorizing and Accountability Team at the New York City DOE. I wish everyone a happy election day, and we hope that schools have had a good start to the month of November. We are proud to announce that the association's voter registration efforts have been able to register over 140 people to vote, coming through our virtual sessions, our National Voter Registration Day events, and our in-school registrations. We recently had 78 voters attend a voter information session at American Dream High School last Thursday. And so we're really excited to have connected so many people to the voting process. It's never too late to register to learn more. You can do so by visiting our voting website, which Becky will drop in the chat. We also want to wish everyone a happy start to American Indian Native American Heritage Month. We know that November can be an extremely busy and fast-moving month. We have lots of holidays, Veterans Day coming up, Thanksgiving approaching toward the end of the month. So we know that some schools have also recently done celebrations for Halloween and Day of the Dead. So we welcome all of our schools to share any and all of their celebrations with us through social media or by emailing your pictures to comms@nycharters.net. And we'll drop in both our email address to send your photos or to tweet at us in the chat. As always, we'll be sharing some updates, information, and upcoming events this afternoon with the broader charter school community. But we also welcome any questions that you may have. And so you can feel free to drop those questions into the chat or come off mute once we get to that portion of today's webinar. First of all, we'd like to thank everyone who attended the New York Charter Schools Conference in Buffalo about 2 weeks ago. We especially want to thank our Buffalo area charter schools for contributing to the festivities by providing student speakers and performances, as well as hosting campus tours. We thank our fabulous group of speakers and presenters for sharing their content, and we are already in the midst of planning for next year's conference, which will be held in Albany from October 18th to the 20th. We will share information on registration for that conference as soon as it becomes available. As I mentioned, today is Election Day, and so the association will be hosting a members-only meeting next Tuesday, November 15th at 4 p.m. to discuss legislative priorities for 2023. We really hope to use this meeting to share with schools the implications that the electoral results may have on the charter school landscape going into next year and going into next year's legislative session, as well as discussing the issues that will motivate our advocacy efforts across the state. We are dropping the link to sign up for this meeting in the chat, and you can use the membership lookup link that's also going into that chat message to verify your membership status and access the session. We also wanted to make schools aware of the Healthcare Workers Bonus Program, which is part of a fund set aside by New York State and administered by the New York State Department of Health to provide recruitment and retention bonuses for frontline healthcare and mental hygiene workers who work in both medical and educational settings. Now, many of you may have seen the NYSED memo that went out regarding this program back in October. We will re-drop into the chat that memo from New York SED. It is important that charter schools know that under this program, they are qualified employers and must claim and pay these bonuses for any eligible employees or contractors that you have at your school. So this includes potentially school nurses, this may include speech and language pathologists, social workers or mental hygiene workers. So please review some of this material, better understand how this program works. Bonuses are paid based on employment over the course of up to 2 6-month vesting periods, starting back in October 1st of 2021. So we are now sort of a year away from that program. So 2 vesting periods have occurred. And so the employer submission window to submit claims for the first 2 vesting periods was recently extended to November 30th. So you can still submit claims for any eligible employees who've been on staff during that period since October 1st of 2021. The association has prepared some resources on the Healthcare Workers Bonus Program, which we'll drop in the chat. We'll also make available the website of Department of Health where you can find more information. It is important for our families to be prepared to advocate for our schools, and the New York State Charter Parent Council continues to meet to rally our families from across the state. The next meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 16th at 6 p.m. We ask that you share the link that we're dropping in the chat with your families and your parent liaisons who are encouraged and invited to attend these meetings. We are still looking for an upstate family member to serve as the vice chairperson on our first New York State Charter Parent Council board. And we'll be using that board to help us develop the council strategy and activities for the remainder of the year. As always, both English and Spanish interpretation and translation is provided during these sessions. We're also working around the holidays this month by the continuation of our school support programming. Our data working group will be wrapping up its 3-part look at early year data reporting with a session on student data collection and the course instructor assignment submission next Tuesday, November 15th at 10 a.m. During these sessions, we will continue to share resources, timelines, and deadlines for upcoming reporting and expectations around data collection through these meetings. Please feel free to share this registration link that's being dropped in the chat with your team members and come prepared with your data reporting questions. Likewise, next week, we'll be holding our next operations working group meeting, which will focus on the student recruitment and enrollment process. We're really excited to have 2 experts on student recruitment and marketing, Allison Newell from Underdog Strategies and Corey Kroll from CK Collaborative. We'll be sharing key strategies that schools should think about at each stage of the enrollment funnel. This meeting will take place on Friday, November 18th at 10 a.m. and registration for that will be dropped in the chat. Finally, after Thanksgiving, our bi-monthly meetings of the board members working group will return. December 1st at 4 p.m. will be our next meeting, and we'll focus on the key steps that boards should be taking in preparation for a charter school renewal. We will be joined by a charter school renewal consultant, Kiera Del Tito Sherratt, who will be sharing resources and a framework for getting ready for renewal. We also encourage board members to attend to share their own experience with the renewal process. You can share the registration link with your trustees that's being dropped in the chat. Finally, our Critical Friends visits are now ongoing. Following our first successful virtual visit last month at Renaissance Charter School in Queens, we are excited to continue our visits for the fall session. Our next visit will be a virtual session with Amani Public Charter School in Mount Vernon, which is going to be focused on strengthening math achievement. As a virtual session, we welcome school and academic leaders from across the state to join us in this conversation, which will take place on December 15th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the form to sign up for this and future visits is being dropped in the chat, along with a calendar of our upcoming visits. So with that, I'm going to turn it over now to our authorizers. We have Lisa, Catherine, Lori, and Aaron here for updates. And I think we can start with Lisa to share any updates from New York SED.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by saying it was really wonderful to see some of you in Buffalo at the conference. Our session was very well attended, and we did have a few technical glitches, but the highlight of our session was hearing from Robert Baxter and Joseph Peak, school leaders at Health Sciences and the Charter School of Inquiry, respectively, about the ways that they're focusing on DEI in their schools. While we were there, I was also able to visit Reach Academy and West Buffalo Charter School, and those visits were very, very nice. It was really a pleasure meeting the school leaders and teachers and students there as well. As for the updates and reminders for charters authorized by the regents, your non-renewal school revision requests are due to be submitted to our online portal no later than December 1st. And we're currently scheduling a webinar for our schools around that. So be on the lookout. We are currently conducting 20 renewal site visits, and I just want to give a shout out to all of you because we appreciate the work that your schools are doing in conjunction with our liaisons to prepare for and conduct these visits. We know that it's not an easy lift to prepare for us to be in your schools. In terms of reminders, November 18th, next Friday, is the due date for the BEDS Institutional Master File Report in the IDEX. And the staff snapshot and staff assignment in the student information repository system is due. So please make sure that you are aware of that date and prepared to have everything submitted by November 18th, next Friday. Also, the ESSA Fiscal Transparency Report is open in IDEX, and the due date on that is December 30th. Lastly, the next data work group meeting will be on Tuesday, November 15th at 10 a.m. Perhaps Michael can add the registration link in the chat. If he didn't, I stepped away for a moment, Michael, so I'm not sure if you did that or not. This best practices in reporting series has been very well attended and very informative. The next meeting will pick up where we left off with Tracy Davey continuing her presentation on the work with level 0 and a look at how to check your data in level 2. Also, they will cover making sure your data is accurate, and it's very important as the first data pull of enrollment data will take place in early January. Okay, I think that's it for me today. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We can turn over to Catherine at SUNY. And once again, if you have questions, feel free to add them to the chat, and we'll have an opportunity for Q&A after our authorizer update.
Thank you.
Catherine?
All right, thank you, Michael. From SUNY, we just have a few quick updates. The Q1 financial reporting for SUNY authorized charter schools is due November 15th and should be submitted via Epicenter. Want to remind folks that the annual audit submissions are also a part of NYSED's requirement for the annual report, and they do need to be posted on each charter school's website in accordance with the NYSED's requirements. So please remember to do that. And I wanted to share that the Institute is working on a white paper on accelerated learning. Erin Allen, a senior analyst with the Institute, led a session at the conference in Buffalo on this. And where it shares 4 promising strategies that were observed from more than 50 on-site school visits between fall 21 and spring 22. And we're looking to share them as resources for instructional leaders, charter authorizers, program evaluators, and anyone interested in exploring both the pedagogical and planning strategies supporting accelerated learning. Mike Lazinski from my team will be adding the email address in the chat. So if anybody's interested in getting that, please do email us at charter.whitepapers@suny.edu, and we will make sure to get that out to you. And that's it for me, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I think we'll turn it over to Lori to talk a little bit about New York City DOE authorizing update.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And Catherine, that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. I look forward to reading more about that. So for Chancellor authorized charter schools, just a few quick reminders. November 1st was the second deadline for reporting requirements, which did include any requests for material revisions that your school wishes to make for next school year. Another reminder, non-material revision requests can be submitted at any time during the school year. The next reporting deadline is January 31st, and that, again, is all through CHIP. Please reach out, send me an email if you have any questions. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori. And I'll turn it over to Erin for general New York City updates.
Thanks so much, Michael. Normally, Corey is here with a bunch of questions for me, but I don't think we got any questions in advance. So I will do just one general plug to continue working with your teams to make sure that ATS is accurate and up to date on a rolling basis. This is important not only for all of the data that's going to be flowing to your authorizers, but it's also important for your funding streams, including those funding streams that we administer. It's important to make sure that your ATS is up to date in case those students are eligible for pandemic benefits funds, that we're going to the right school to collect attendance data. And it's just very, very important, not only as you're going into our next billing cycle. If you have a school that would love some thought partnership on how you can kind of more quickly check ATS, more frequently check ATS, build ATS hygiene into your kind of daily and weekly practice, we would love to talk to you. I think we see a lot of issues that happen during the year, and usually what is happening is there's an issue with ATS. So we would just love to talk if you're having some challenges. That's all I got for today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Erin. Appreciate the update. We'll give it a moment now for those of you on the call. If anybody has questions, feel free to add them into the chat. But any of the topics that were discussed, or if you have additional questions for the authorizers, I'll give it a second. Once again, you can come off mute. We can go ahead and just add it to the chat.
Hey, Joe, I saw your hand. I think on mute.
We'll give it another 5 seconds in case there are questions. Joe, well, if there are no other questions, I'll flip it back to Anna to take over from here.
Yes, and I might be popping it right back to you to ask authorizers to make introductions to our schools that are presenting this month. I apologize if I'm slow on the uptake here.
No worries. We'll go ahead and turn it over to our authorizers. We're going to introduce us to 2 charter schools. We're going to share a little bit more about what they are most thankful for so far this year as we approach Thanksgiving. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Lori now to introduce our first school, and then we'll have Catherine introduce our second presentation. Lori?
Great, thank you. I'm super pleased to introduce you all today to Ms. Kentia Corias, who is Senior Director of Teaching and Learning for K-5 at Challenge Preparatory Charter School in Queens. Challenge Prep has provided students and families with a successful and rigorous instructional program in Far Rockaway since 2010. The school currently serves grades K through 11 across 4 sites after remotely launching its early college and CTE high school in August of 2020. The mission of Challenge Prep is to prepare students to excel academically, to demonstrate mastery of the New York State and Common Core learning standards, and to achieve their career aspirations. So Kentia, I'm super pleased to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Lori. I am going to share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Election Day Tuesday. I went with my 6-year-old this morning. It was a great civic lesson for him. And joke on me because guess what? Oh, now I see the option to share. Hold on. Okay. Do you all see my screen?
Not yet, no.
Okay, I may be having a technical difficulty, so I'm going to go right into the presentation without the screen. Is that okay, Michael?
Go right ahead. Thank you.
Great. So the first thing that we are so thankful for is our families and scholars who continue to choose us because we care for the whole child and not just, the academics, although obviously we won't be a school if we don't do that well, but our families definitely appreciate that. And unlike we know some schools are struggling with enrollment, but we actually are meeting our targets, or close to our targets, because word on the street is Challenges is the place to be, and we're very proud of that. We're also very thankful for our teachers and staff who continue to choose us for the same reasons. During the recruitment process, actually, candidates have said to me, especially post-pandemic, this process feels different. I know that schools want to staff, but I felt in other interviews like that I was just a number, or the process was very robotic. So even during the season of many vacancies, we are still taking the time to get to know people and really have a process that gets to understand who they are and the whole person they're bringing to the table, because we understand that this work can't be done without people who care about the work. And unfortunately, you're not seeing these beautiful pictures, but last Friday, October 28th, our CEO received the commendation by Governor Hochul at his church on Central Avenue in Far Rockaway because of his work after Superstorm Sandy. So his church was one of a few places that literally had light for quite some time there. And he advocated for the site to become a FEMA site, fought his church members. They weren't sure that was the most appropriate thing to do, but he said no, it needed to happen. And looking at the numbers, they served meals to over 3,000 families a day. And some of our high school students were babies and in need during that time. It was an amazing moment. Governor Hochul took the time to actually introduce herself to some of our scholars and talk to them about holding elected officials accountable. And the core of what I want to talk to you all today is about what makes us so focused and clear on focusing on the whole child. It's really the vision of our founder, Reverend Les Mullins. So he not only partners with our elected officials, he has relationships with them. And that's evident in many of the things I'm going to share with you. But the first thing I want to share is kind of sad, We've had 2 student deaths in the last 2 years. One was related to gun violence. And, the elected officials, yes, they showed up and part of that was part of their duty, but Majority Whip Sylvina Brooks Powers has been there continuously at the families' homes. What do you need? She continues to show up. Assembly member Khalil Anderson worked with a community center to create a mediation program because the gun violence stemmed from something that was very small and ended up taking the life of a 10-year-old. So I bring them up because I see them all the time. They don't just come around when there's a photo opportunity. They really do care about the community, because our founder is not just about educating our students, but he wants them to be educated and wants them to work and give back to Far Rockaway. Hence the thing that I want to highlight today in terms of what we're thankful for. We are so thankful for $1 million grant we are receiving from JFK Redevelopment Board. And many of its members, Queensborough President Donovan Richards, Stacey D'Amato, and Gregory Meeks have all been to Challenge several times. They all sit on that board and advocated for Challenge to get this grant, because the vision for our high school is for it to be an early college and CTE school. Dr. Mullins would say, because high school needs to mean something, right? So we're offering programming in 4 pathways: allied health, aviation, culinary arts, and hospitality. So we've partnered with the CUNY School of Labor Studies. They're the ones offering the associate's degree that our high school students would be eligible for after the 12th grade, but they are also eligible for dual credit high school classes right now. And our juniors have started their statistics class and they're writing 101 class that will serve both as college and high school credits. And we're very excited for the industry partnership. So we've started our CNA program at the school. We've partnered with St. John's Episcopal Hospital and Johns Hopkins, actually, to provide some of the programming. Our hospitality curriculum is tied with TWA. They're actually offering us the curriculum that they use with their employees, and giving our kids sort of an insight to whether or not this is something that they would want long-term. I can't see my chat, Michael, so I don't know how much time I have. So all of a sudden, all these tech issues came up after I practiced several times with this. But overall, we're thankful for our founder, whose vision is, yes, let's partner with elected and hold them accountable for what they are supposed to be doing for our community. And let's work with them and let's be in relationship with them for the benefit of kids and the community at large. So one last thing I just want to highlight is that the programming that's coming through this grant is not only for Challenge scholars, it's for the community at large. So there's a college and career center that's 2 blocks from the school that's offering college classes, home ownership info, everything else for our families, because we understand our children don't live in isolation. They're part of a family. The family is part of a community, and to serve scholars means to serve the community.
Well, thank you so much, so much for joining us and for sharing all that. That was a great overview of all the positive things that are happening this year, going through all the challenges that we face to come out with such positivity. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it over now to Catherine to introduce our second school. Catherine?
All right, thanks, Mike. We have with us here today, Carrie Ann Schenk, who is the head of school for Truxtun Academy Charter School, which is located in Cortland County, south of Syracuse and north of Binghamton. Truxtun opened in 2019, currently serves grades K to 5, and will grow to serve grades K to 6. The school cultivates a love of learning through a project-based curriculum that celebrates the rural life, environmental stewardship, and agricultural heritage. All students receive Spanish education daily in class and are encouraged to speak the language throughout the day. Among many projects supported in the Rural Life Lab, students participate in trout and pheasant raising projects that include releasing them into their natural habitat. They also raise strawberries and other vegetables in grow towers and in gardens on site. All of which are harvested and used in the food services program. Truxtun Academy Charter School is the only rural charter school in New York, and please join me in welcoming Ms. Schenk today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me to present today. Truxtun Academy is very unique, and we hope you enjoy learning about the things we are thankful for. Personally, as a new school administrator, I'm thankful that I have such strong support and advocates through New York Charter Schools Association and Northeast Charter. Anna, thank you, and SUNY Charter. I want to thank you, Catherine, as well. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it? Great. So my team and I are thankful. Hang on, having a technical difficulty. There we go. My team and I are thankful for so many things, but we wanted to give you an understanding of our demographics and our mission and our accomplishments to date. So for this reason, we pared it down to community partnerships and field lessons. We wanted to share that with you, and we're so thankful for those opportunities. Our charter began as community members became outraged with the closing of a non-charter public elementary school. And the building itself has been a part of the history of the community since the 1930s. In response to this closing, farmers, business owners, and parents and the local community center board came together to form our school and are now recognized as founding members. And so what you're seeing on the screen are some of our community partnerships and colleges and academic organizations that we partner with. And we're so thankful for all of them. Many of our people sit on the board of trustees, have children or grandchildren that attend our school, and many serve in a multitude of capacities to ensure that our school is successful and an exciting place for children to learn. And as you can see on the screen, our board of trustees president is the owner of East River Dairy, who partners with us on our dairy curriculum. Reeks Country Goods is owned by Kay Reeks, and she's the founding team member. So we're so thankful of all of these community partnerships and all of these people. And then there's just some pictures of their businesses. And again, we wanted to just give you an idea of the demographics, very different from the Queen School that we just heard about from Challenge Charter. So as indicated in our introduction, our mission is to provide project-based learning with an emphasis on environmental stewardship, rural life, and agriculture. We do this through field lessons, and as you can see, two of our favorite field lessons are the dairy field lesson and the trout field lessons. Tomorrow, actually, our second graders will be going to Twin Oaks Dairy to meet their calf that they adopted. Their calf is 3 days old, sorry. They will visit her tomorrow and they will watch her grow throughout the year and visit. They learn about the dairy industry, her habitat, what she eats, where milk comes from. As part of that curriculum, students will later learn how to make cheese and ice cream. They will have to follow recipes and they will have to do math. We don't just have fun and go on field trips, but here at Truxton, but they do learn while they're on these field lessons. Students are going to write about their experiences and they have already learned about some higher order questioning, and they're going to take those questions to the farm owner tomorrow. And then next week, our second graders will be going to collect trout fish eggs at Morrisville College. They will bring them back here and they will raise them in our aquarium that's right outside my office. I keep hearing running water and I think, oh my God, oh my goodness, there's a bathroom overflowing, and it's just the aquarium making lots of noise. And then in the spring, students will release the baby trout in our streams. So some other favorite field lessons that we have. The pheasants arrived a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, students built a habitat when my rural life lab teacher came to me and said, hi, I have some saws in my car. Is it okay if I bring them in or should I leave them outside? And I said, you're going to give fourth graders saws to use today in class? And sure enough, they built a habitat for the pheasants and they are out there every day taking care of them, and they will release them in our area in the spring. We have a garden. We have a barn that is coming for animals. We have a grow tower that is, or a high tunnel that's coming. And Cornell Cooperative Extension just donated a greenhouse that is also coming for our campus. So those are all pieces of our field lesson and rural life lab that we're thankful for. We have a garden. Our students work in the garden. They harvest the vegetables and we bring them in and use them in our field, in our cafeteria. And then we also have grow towers. The following slides, you will see some photos of some of our activities and field lessons. So this is a parade that we just attended. And this was the dairy parade that we attended. And again, we have that's a Spanish element within our school. So this was during COVID times, obviously, because they have masks on, but when they were at the dairy farm. And working in our kitchen with the dairy princess, learning how to cook and measure. This is our garden. And this is our rural life lab teacher with our grow towers. We have 3 of them. They're hydroponic grow towers. They're currently growing strawberries for next spring. This is the pheasants that were brought here a couple weeks ago. And this was last year's release of the pheasants. And yes, our students go outside daily. Our teachers are expected to teach outside 3 times a week. And it's cold up here and we get lots of snow. These are the trout fish eggs at Morrisville College. And these are the grown trout that the students are getting a chance to take a look at. And this is the release last year of the baby trout into our stream. And this is our students learning about the parts of a fish and the life cycle of fish. So I just want to thank you for having us present and show you a very different charter school than Challenge Charter. But if there are any questions.
Well, thank you, Carrie Ann. Thank you, Kentia. I really appreciate you both being here to showcase your schools. Wonderful to hear about schools from all parts of the state. We'll give it just a moment if anybody on the line has a question. If not, I do have a quick question for challenge. You mentioned the CTE program. You've got these 4 tracks. Have you noticed any of them being particularly popular? I mean, when you mentioned aviation as one of the tracks, you talk a little bit about how the CTE is going and how the students are relating to the CTE programming.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Michael. Right now, we're introducing all of the pathways to the students because we're realizing that they first need to know a little bit more about each one before they can actually make the decision. The aviation pathway means that we've bought a simulator that they will learn. It starts with the mechanics of the airplane, and then the plan is to have them take some courses at JFK Airport, which is close to the school. But right now they're learning a little bit about all the pathways in their career class.
That's awesome. That's awesome to have the flight simulator on site. And then Carrie Ann, can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the unique opportunities and challenges? I mean, you talked about this with some of the inherent programming you do, but some unique opportunities and challenges working as the only rural charter school in New York State. What have you found since you guys opened in 2019?
Yeah, so I've only been here since July, but I can share with you that for us, the challenge is that these rural communities don't even know what charter schools are and why they exist. And so there's all of this education that has to happen to our communities. And our districts, our surrounding districts are threatened by us because they feel they don't understand it either. And so there's education that is to district wide and communities. And so that's a huge challenge. And then I think the other challenge for us is, and I know it is for everyone, retention. I was just writing this up, retention of teachers and recruiting teachers, because here they have so many other places to go, and I know that's the same in other charter schools as well. But we also have the fact that we're so rural that people don't even want to come to us because we're so rural. So we're fighting that, and then of course add in the national teacher shortage, and so that's not a challenge that that is unique to us, but certainly one that we are facing.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I want to thank you both for joining us again today. I want to thank everyone who's on the call for joining us for this November webinar. As always, we will post today's recording in the Resource Center on our website. A link to access these recordings is being dropped in our chat, and feel free to, if you want to reference any of our past webinars, you can do so in our Resource Center. Please reach out to us if you have any questions about the topics discussed today, or are interested in having your school present, just like Challenge Prep and Trust and Academy were able to do at one of our upcoming monthly webinars. Monthly webinars are made possible through the contribution and commitment of our member schools. We appreciate the ability to host these forums and provide these updates for the full New York charter school community because of their efforts. If you are not a member of the association, we encourage you to join today by emailing membership@nycharters.net. Otherwise, we wish you a great rest of the day. Happy Veterans Day, happy Thanksgiving, and a wonderful rest of November. Thank you all for joining us today.
Good night.
And go vote if you have not done
Bye.
so. Get out there before the polls close.
Good night. Thank you.